Barnaby Joyce reckons it ain't broke, so don't fix it.
We did win every seat we stood in with 3 retirees. We did actually pick up another Senate seat and we were within very close striking distance of 2 other seats.
As for the notion that the Nats holding the Libs to ransom over net zero contributed to a Liberal wipeout at the hands of Teal independents, Barnaby wasn't having a bar of it.
That'd be like saying Tim Wilson was a drag on the vote in central Queensland. They know whether they're voting for a Nationals candidate or a Liberals candidate. It's as clear as that.
While the nationwide swing towards Green and Teal candidates sent a strong message on climate action, some corners of the party room managed to reach the opposite conclusion.
My firm view is that when we surrender to the left on these issues, we lose. I'm going to actually double down on my fight against net zero because this thing is destroying the world.
Barnaby's deputy tried to hose down the glowing embers of that particular climate fight.
Chasing extremities isn't going to win you elections. What will win the elections is a sensible centre.
But he didn't hose down speculation over his own leadership aspirations.
That's the question the party room gets to answer of both Barnaby and myself. Both my position and his become vacant.
Down in Victoria, Darren Chester reaffirmed his net zero support and revealed he was thinking about considering the possibility of entertaining the notion of potentially, perhaps, throwing his hat in the ring. Maybe.
I just haven't reached any conclusion on that point. I've considered it and I'll go for a long run today and think about it even more.
So are the climate wars set to spark up once again?
We believe that we are the last hope Obi-Wan Kenobi for the people who are doing it tough.
Well, Darren Chester may be the man to bring balance to the Nats. He joins us now. Darren, you've been for your run now, so are you going to be running for the leadership?
Yeah, great to join you guys. And look, at any time after a federal election, the National Party leadership positions become available. So it's a natural transition point in our party room. And I said today, and I'll say again tonight, that I'm considering putting my hand forward, putting my hand up for that role. It's something you have to talk about to your colleagues and your supporters and figure out whether you've got enough support to have a crack at it. But our real challenge, I think, going forward now is to connect more with younger voters and female voters in regional areas. And I think we need to consider what our future looks like as a party in that regard. And right now, I'm concerned that we were a drag on the Liberal Party vote in the city in this last election. And it's a real problem for us because when you think about it, it's a bit like coming out of a surgeon coming out of an operation and saying, the operation was a great success, but the patient died. I mean, we lost government on the weekend, and that means we lost our capacity to influence policies on behalf of the people in regional Australia who we represent.
Yeah, the Liberals got whacked. You are a different party, though, and you had a good night. I mean, really, Barnaby Joyce could stand in front of you and say, keep me, I'm the guy who delivered success for our party. How sure are you that he's the one that's to blame for what transpired at a completely different end of the country?
Yeah, look, well, it's a good point. I'm not looking to blame any individuals directly. I'm just saying that as a party in the Nationals, yes, we were able to hold our seats. Quite ominously, we had a lot of swings against us right around regional Australia, but we did hang on to our seats like we did at the last election under Michael McCormack as well. So that's a good thing for our party. But at the same time, I've said this publicly in the last couple of weeks, it concerned me that I had voters coming to me in my own electorate saying quite respectfully, but quite bluntly to my face, I like you, I like the job you're doing, but I can't stomach your leader. I don't like the direction he's taking your party. And that was an issue for us. So we can't pretend that these things weren't an issue for us in our seats, that we were experiencing some backlash there as well. So that's just a fact. We have to own up to it and acknowledge it and then decide whether we need to change our direction or not. And that's a question for the party room next Monday.
Well, I imagine one of the questions would be also then, Darren, how you define what a Nationals voter is and what they want from your party.
Yeah, that's a really fundamental question. When you think about the Nationals as a party, in many ways we are a loose coalition of like-minded independents. I mean, there are people from North Queensland, people like me from southeastern Victoria, quite different communities we represent, but we have a shared passion for regional Australia. So as a party, we need to somehow find an accommodation for quite a broad range of approaches to issues and not isolate people from the party because they have no different view on certain issues. So that's a real challenge for our party, I think, going forward, to be that broader church representing all regional areas and understanding that regional Australia is changing quite dramatically too. We've seen post-COVID with the pandemic impacts, a lot of people have moved to regional Australia, people who perhaps have never voted nationally in their life, and we'll have to try and convince them that we're worthy of their vote. As also, we need to make sure that we're appealing to younger voters and female voters, which is a real problem for us. And we need to look at what's our actual product offering to those people.
Does your party support net zero, Darren?
Well, I certainly do, and it was the position that we reached, Pete, in November last year. So net zero by 2050 was the agreed position of our party room in November last year. And then when we had colleagues coming out saying, well, that policy was dead during the campaign, it didn't help the colleagues in the city. There's no question that was a problem for us in some of our seats. So the vast majority of Australians support action on climate change, and we need to be part of the solution as a national party, recognising that the people in our community also support action.
Well, Darren, it seems Matt Canavan, he shared that he'd been having a lovely time with his wife on the campaign trail, taking her to no less than 17 coal mines in 4 days. Wow, you really got his boots on. Darren, how many coal mines was your wife lucky enough to visit?
Look, my wife doesn't often come out in the power station visits here in Latrobe Valley, but I certainly visit them and recognise the critically important role they have in powering our state and powering much of southeastern Australia. And this is a challenge for us. We need to find the right balance. I mean, people in my community want a sensible approach to this issue. They recognise that we can do our share to reduce emissions, but there's no Australian solution in isolation. But they also want reliable, affordable energy for their households. So it's a complex question. It's one where we need a balanced approach, and I think our policy we reached last year of net zero by 2050 with a technology-based approach was the right approach, and one the Nationals agreed to at the time.
But Darren, your poor wife.
It's a romance,
Doesn't
Darren.
she deserve the opportunity to gaze longingly across a coal mine?
Look, I'll try to make it up to it in some other way.
I don't know if you know this, Darren, but coal eventually turns into diamonds.
There you go. That's how you do it,
If you're
Darren.
playing the long game, I think that's a very long game.
Most certainly is. And Darren, just for us, just between us, what, again, would the deadline be if you were going to go make a tilt at the leadership?
Oh, look, I think the conversations will happen over the next 24 hours, and I'll talk to colleagues and figure it out from there. So there's no real rush. We're not going to have a meeting till next Monday, but I think there's going to be other members of our team who are interested in taking our leadership role going forward. You know, people like David Littleproud and Keith Pitt and Michael McCormack are names that have been put forward today in the media. So there is an interest in a changed approach. It's a question, I guess, of our colleagues talking to each other constructively and working out what the best way forward is.
Setting up like a big 24 hours. Darren Chester, thanks for your time.
All the best, guys.